welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
Kick the dog. I'm Beth.
I'm Eve. I'm Beth. This is Beth. She doesn't know what she's supposed to say. And that's Eve, who clashes with the table. I'm very sorry that you have to look at her for all this time.
I had to find something to wear that wasn't cold.
You mean that was warm?
No, specifically that wasn't cold. All my long sleeve shirts are in the laundry. So.
Oh, I see.
I was like, well, anyway, I have these t-shirts.
Freezing.
Yeah.
We have suddenly moved to Seattle. Apparently.
It's like, yeah.
It's been raining and
raining. It's cold. I'm moving your drink. It's cold out. It's raining. And my nephew Robert had a graduation so rudely in the middle of a huge rainstorm. And we had to drive there, scared for our lives on the freeway. And get out and get
it was so impossible. It was so hard to see.
It was awful. It was awful, and we're not used to that. And then when we're desert rats, we're not used to it.
Well, and when we were leaving, the sun, it was kind of blue sky way over there, but the sun was setting, coming down just enough to make it very blinding, very hard to see. It was.
Well, that was.
But we love him, so that's why we went.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go first.
Okay,
because I have very little to talk about. My one accomplishment for the week was I knit a sock. This is a sock for Robert, for my nephew, for his graduation.
Who only has 1 foot.
He only has one. No, he has 2 feet, but he only has 1 sock because I started it very late. Actually, the night of his graduation, because we had a party for him the next night, and I'm like, I want to make him socks. So I started this, and I was a good girl, and I made a gauge swatch, which put me behind a little because I wanted to make sure it was going to fit him. And so at his party, I gave him 1 sock because it was so late. And Mark's like, "Are you really going to do that?" Okay, you stay up late. And
Meredith had to go to the airport.
And my aunt had to go to the airport. Her flight was at 7, so she should have technically been there at 5. And I'm like, no, we'll get you there at 5:30. It's fine. And then, but we had to get up at like 4, right, to get ready to go. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I can get up if I'm going to leave at 5, I can get up at 4:45. So that's what I set my alarm. And, whenever I set an alarm on my phone, it says, the alarm will ring in X many hours and X many minutes. It said 2 hours and 0 minutes.
Did you hate that?
It was 2:45 and I went to bed after this sock. That's why I'm like, I could make 2 socks or I could sleep for 2 hours. I think I'll choose sleep. But I didn't get to sleep until 4:45. Do you know why? Because my aunt, this is a story, I guess. I'm in stories. My aunt doesn't know how house alarms work.
Oh.
And she went out the garage door and was out there in the garage getting something out of the dryer and didn't hear it beeping. And Mark's like, what is that sound? And then all of a sudden, wee, 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 wee. So I didn't get to sleep all the way. Anyway, I made a sock. Look. Now, okay, true confessions. And Robert Street's going to hear me. But I wound this sock yarn came in 2 hanks. And I couldn't tell from the hank which end was what. And I wound it. But, and that's the other thing is that my aunt was already asleep in the bedroom where all my stuff was. And I had pulled out the sock machine and everything, but I forgot about the Swift, which the Swift, the hanks of yarn come on a big, they either come in balls like, they come in balls or skeins, like this is a ball, right? But sometimes you see me with like a long one, and it's like if you untwist it, it's just a big circle like this, and you can't knit from that.
That's right. You always see in the movies somebody holding
it. Yeah. When you put it into a ball. So it comes in a hank like that, and so you put it on like a Swift, which just freely turns so that you can wind it, right? And I wind it onto, I have a drill, and it winds onto cones. Remember I brought the drill?
Oh, yeah.
Weeks ago. And so I had my drill, I had the cones, I had the yarn, no Swift. So I put it on my knees, and the first one, though, was kind of a mess. It got tangled. And so when I wound it, it was a big lumpy cone, and I didn't like it. So I rewound it. When I rewound it, though, we wound it. I think the way that it was wound was backwards. I think this should have been the toe, and this should have been the leg of the sock, because there's a small brown section on this side. So like it would have been brown, then blue, then green on the leg of the sock, and then the heel, and then this would have been, because there was a large amount of brown on the other end. Now, there's no way to know that when you unwind a skein, right? Because now there are there's some companies that put sock yarn together and they kind of tell you which way, like Regia, it's called Perfect, where they tell you, they give you like a liter yarn, and you start in, whether, I can't remember if it's the outside or the inside, and there's 2 pairs like that, and there's like a bright yellow waste yarn in between, and it tells you exactly where to start so that you have 2 identical socks. It was 2 little skeins, 1 for each sock, but it didn't tell you anything about how to start it.
Yeah.
So maybe it did on the label and I didn't read it. But anyway, so I recognized that one end of the skein had a lot of brown. And so the first time I wound the cone, it would have, if I had just knit the sock, it would have been that way right then. But I wanted to rewind the cone because I didn't feel like it was going to pull off the cone it needs to have 0 tension on that cone when it pulls into the machine. So I rewound it, and then I realized, oh, this side has a ton of brown. I wonder, because usually they'll do that and they give you like a ton for the toe, so that when you hit the toe, you're making it as long as the foot needs to be, right? So most of the sock that will show on his leg is this brown and blue. And I have the other one wound actually the same way. So the other one will match this pretty. But anyway, I'm like, it should have been a sock like this.
I don't mind it the way it is.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's still pretty.
The colors look
it's
really
still
good
nice,
together.
And maybe it'll be easier to wear actually.
Yeah, because
with a lot of things this way.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty
darker.
It's pretty dark, and this is pretty bright. So
although I have to say it looked pretty good on his foot.
yeah, I made him try it on. I'm like, make sure it fits. So yeah, I did that. That's one thing I accomplished. The rest of my knitting really has not gone very well this week. I did do some work a little tiny bit, but I haven't been able to knit at work much. And at night, I don't know what happened this week. Well, my aunt came on Monday. And so on Saturday when I'm here and I knit while we speak, and as you remember, last week's video was very long. We apologize. But I knit a lot during the video. So I like this time when we're sitting here talking, I get knitting time. So I didn't work on this much over the weekend. And Sunday, what did I do Sunday? I don't know what I did last Sunday. Went to a concert? Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, Rachel and I went to the concert. Was that last weekend?
That was Sunday, yeah.
The Broadway? Yeah. So that's what I did Sunday. So anyway, I've been busy. And then my aunt came, and then we've been busy. So I didn't do much. But here is it's not much different than the last time you saw it. So I'm not going to put up a picture or anything like that. But this is Hannah's sweater, Hannah's cardigan. And that's literally all I've been working on. I was like, I haven't touched my Musselburgh hat. It's been a wasteland of knitting this week. So that is all I have to talk about. And I don't even have any other grand plans like I did last week. I did, and that's the other reason I didn't do a lot this week, is I had to button up my craft room because my aunt came and stayed in Hannah's room. So I didn't go in and spin or play with things or look at my yarn or anything like that. So, or anything.
Plus since she's alone during the day, because you and Mark are working,
and we were busy at night, and
you want to pay attention to her when you come back.
Right. So yeah, that's me. I'm done.
I'll go next.
Okay.
So right now, I'm making messes on my Christmas berry. Hold on, I
have to plug in my iPad. I brought a battery with me because my iPad's dying. I forgot to plug it in last night.
Erica Michaels, Christmas Berry. This is,
Christmas berry.
that's what I said.
That sounded like you said Christmas.
This just now
No,
you said
that's
Christmas.
not what I said Christmas. I said Christmas.
Okay.
Anyway, be quiet. So, this is my cross stitch camp piece for winter cross stitch camp. And I didn't work on it as much as I probably should have. This is how far I am. Now, I did work on it. I got the second antler done. And I thought, I'll start on the moose next. I was like, nah, that moose is too big. So I'm doing the snow. And this cloth has little white dots on it. And this snow went over one of those white dots. And I was like, why do those stitches look weird? And I undid it. And I was like, oh, one looks big and fat because there's a white dot under it. But, you know, it won't hurt the running any. So that's what I'm working on right this minute. I got these done, not when I wanted to, not when I said I would. There's the gnome. And yeah.
Just she's fussing around here.
This, and unfortunately, no, they're not on the Etsy shop yet. Although, when you view this, hopefully they will be. Because I didn't get around to finish them until this morning. As we mentioned, there's been a lot going on this week. And when I'm done doing a lot of stuff going on this week, I am so tired. I was just like, because when
it's been so cold, you know.
When you, and this room is cold. When in the summer, this room is hot. In the winter, this room is cold. So when you sew and you're tired or whatever, that's when you make giant messes. And because of my stitching being so wrong, here's the other one with the dog.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, the bags are done now. They're just
and I was going to put the charms on and put them on and...
And you just did it, it's okay.
No, I couldn't find... The ones I found were like... because I wanted to have like maybe a little dog or little hearts or something cute on this dog one. And I found pink bows and I thought, that might work. And then I thought, I'm not going to put something on I don't really like.
Yeah.
And then for the gnomes... I don't know. So these will probably be up in time for next Valentine. But I'll get them up as soon as I can. And then the temperature chart.
Oh, that didn't sound good.
Okay, so I'm working on February. February is done differently because it's a leap year, so its tail is different. But I also have not put on the fins because I work on it on Friday nights, right? With everything going on, by Friday night, I was just like, it was 11 o'clock when I picked it up to start working on it. And I was like...
Last night?
Yeah. Maybe 10:30. I don't know. It was late. I was like, I'm so tired. I can't. But it's been very cold. The last 2 days, it's been in the mid to upper 50s. Now that's cold for Phoenix. We had one day this past week in the low 70s. Other than that, it's hovered around 60 degrees. And if I have to wear a jacket, not just give it a ride back and forth in my car, that means it's cold. Because usually I'm like, oh, I should take a jacket. Of course, when we went to the grocery store before Robert's party yesterday, I gave the jacket a ride to the grocery store. No, it was when we did grocery shopping that I did that. I gave the jacket a ride to the grocery store. And then,
And you got soaked on the way out?
no.
Oh.
I only needed it inside the grocery store. Beth came out going, I'm so cold.
I was freezing almost the entire time I was in there.
Was that
Yeah,
at
and-
Walmart or at
No,
is it Fry's?
at Fry's.
Fry's.
Oh,
And then when we came out, there was a very cold, evil wind blowing, and I was like, "Okay, I'm glad I have my jacket." But
Yesterday, I went to work in a turtleneck. The turtleneck I bought for Boston, and the sweater I bought for Boston, and my coat. And I was like, my core was warm, but my hands, my head. I'm like, they say it's not hat weather here, but there is definitely. I should have.
well,
had
and
a hat.
with the wind and the rain the way it was the other day. Oh.
Like I should have had my Musselburgh hat, which I haven't worked on in weeks.
And then the only other thing I've worked on, all I wanted to do this past week is sleep.
We're just winners. Why do you even tune in to us?
I haven't done anything.
So the only other,
It's another week. I
well,
haven't done anything.
rain has always made me sleepy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Anyway, the only other thing I've worked on is whatever this is, Silver Creek Samplers Winterful Friends. And remember, well, maybe you don't remember, maybe you didn't watch because it was so long. Last week, I mentioned that I was sad because the snowflakes and stuff of the pattern were not showing up on the fabric. And I was like, well, maybe I could start it again, but I'd already done, a lot on it. And I talked it over with Beth, and she goes, I don't know. And I put half stitches of a blue color on the fabric to make it more like full coverage.
It looks really nice. You can actually see the
Oh
snowflakes.
wow!
Yeah.
You can, where that blue isn't, you can't see the snow at all. And
Oh wow!
Yeah. It really
makes a big difference.
Yeah.
That's gonna be so cute.
Yeah, and now I'm like, okay, now I don't mind finishing because I'm actually going to be able to see it. But I don't want to work on it right now because I haven't given this poor moose any love. So that's me.
So right now I'm working on the beaver, which is one of my WIP-GO calls. So where's or the beaver, and I was gonna work. I thought, oh, okay, I'll work on that while we're talking. And these charts. This is A Year in the Woods number 11 by Cottage. I can never say this. Cottage Garden Samplings. And I've started most of them. So last time I just had started this tree, and that's as far as I got. So I thought, well, I want to actually work on the beaver. Below, and it's close enough below the tree that I thought I could count down. And so these charts, like I said, I started to say, are like 2 fancy floss colors and a whole bunch of DMC colors, whatever, right? And so I just assumed that the DMC colors were in the project bag where I have, these several of these charts, and no, they're not. The 2 fancy floss colors are in there, but all the whatever DMC colors that were in there were for one of the other charts, and they're not for the beaver. So I have the fancy floss here, so I'm working more tree, because that's what I have the colors.
It
for.
has to be done.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. It's, so whatever. So this is the beaver. So this is just day 1 of 7.
You know what I find amusing? That the tree, which isn't part of the beaver, right, is where you have the fancy floss, and the beaver itself is going to be DMC.
Now,
What
there's
is,
some,
okay, so what is fancy? What does that mean? Fancy floss? Is
it's just a
that's
term
not
that was It's just a term that was coined. I don't know if what's her face if Chelsea
It doesn't matter.
Chelsea started using it. Priscilla and Chelsea of Stitch with the Housewives. That's where I first heard it. But it's fancy floss is what she called it, as opposed to like DMC.
I
Because
understand
it's
that, but
overdyed
yeah.
floss, you know, like
So
Weeks Dye Works or
Yeah, so it has like variegations in the color
I see.
and the color of the thread. So instead of just being
So is it like as opposed like an independent dyer would be for yarn,
Right.
Something like that.
Weeks Dye Works, Color and Cotton.
I see.
Other,
All
you
of
know,
those,
yeah.
I see. I
Yeah.
see.
So they have and some colors are more variegated than others, and they're usually very noticeable. Like when you have like an expanse of grass or a house or something like that, you can really see the variations in the color.
It's not really variegated. It's tonal. That's what
Yes.
yarns
Call
Well,
something like
That's what we
that.
call it in yarns, where it's like it's all purples, but it's not all the same purple.
Right. You like
well,
like
there are some that go from one color to another color.
yeah. It just depends on the
I see.
the
Okay, sorry.
floss color itself. But yeah. So anyway, so that's I've
asking
just started
for this-
on the beaver.
Since I'm a muggle, I just wanted to know. I'm a cross stitch muggle.
But so this week,
Oop! Just found a mistake.
I did work a lot on the thing I did for Robert's graduation thing. So I actually printed off the actual thing without the pattern now. So and actually I think I tweaked this a little bit from even this. This is the tweaking that I had to do. And I think I tweaked it a little bit more when I stitched it, just that it's not exactly like that. But so this is what I stitched, and you can't see it there because it's so tiny. But it says, "May integrity and uprightness preserve me, for I wait for you." Psalm 25:21.
That's nice.
And then so I stitched it 1/2 on this teeny weeny count fabric, and then when I stuck it on here, I had a few different options. This I bought at the dollar store. But I thought
Dollar Tree.
yeah, whatever, yeah. So and actually there was a lot of craft stuff to choose from, and let me get these over here. So I had like these different options. One I was considering was this, but it looked a little scuffy, so I didn't use it after all. But there's this, there's this that has a little hanger on it. There's this. And I felt okay buying several of them because the dollar store. So, and then this,
But you'll use them.
Yeah, because I'll use them for something. So, yeah.
Are you kidding with as many patterns as she's bought? But of course,
so-
every time she needs to FFO, she goes by.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But I thought I might have something, but I wasn't, since I wasn't sure how big it was going to be. The one thing I had in mind,
Oh no, I'm all messed up.
yeah. So anyway, so this is the pattern that I designed, and then this is the finished product. And so we'll have a picture of it so you can see it better. And then I've been working on the owl trio, and apart from the back stitching, all the owls and everything is done, and I'm working on the border now. And I had a little bit of a scare because I couldn't find the needle. I had, when I took it out of the hoop to work on it, I accidentally pulled the nut off of the hoop, and so I was putting that back, and then when I was making this pile, I couldn't find the needle, and it was stuck to the tablecloth here. But anyway, so I finished all the owls, and now I'm working on just the border is all that's left, and then I have to do back stitching and French knots and all that. But I did the little branches, and I did these last set of leaves up here. So it's all done, except for the border, which is going to take 300 years. So yeah, that's the owl trio.
Hopefully you'll get it done before her next birthday.
Yeah. This is the Dimensions kit.
Look who's talking.
Look
We
who's
both
talking.
we both have quilts to finish.
I know.
Yeah. So then the other thing I've been working on is my winter cross stitch camp piece to do something with an animal in it. This is Mouse's Christmas Decorating by Tiny Modernist, and I am pretty far along with it. I'm gonna bunch up this fabric behind here so you can't see through it. So I finished the on the stitching on the vine. I did all the berries that go on here. They just need, they have like one stitch in each berry for like to, you know, the shininess of the berry. And then there's a little ornament up here at the top that I think, yeah, I finished it. And there's one other ornament that hangs down here that I haven't done yet. And then I did most of this present here. There's one color that goes in all those little berries and the ribbon on this present, you know, and then in here also. But I did the the scarf and the snowman and this candy cane down here and a whole bunch of little fussy details. Right now I think I finished all the white on the snowman. So there's like, you know, the color for the cheeks and all that, and then his hat, and there's a cardinal on top of his hat. So it's coming along. There's a few more things I have to do. The white on her apron, and then there's some like snowflake kind of designs up here. So, but it's coming along. So the goal is to finish by the 29th. So I think I'm in a good place for that. And I think that's me. What did you do?
Did you make a bad mistake?
Oh, bad
Right
mistake.
here on live television.
A costly. No, I didn't make it. I made it when I was probably sleep knitting. So this much is wrong in the pattern. I noticed it was off, and I'm almost done. I'm like this close to the end of the round. And so I just lost it. Oh crap. Anyway, I was just checking the pattern along because I'm like I got off somewhere and I just found it and I have all these stitches like that much to tink. Yes. Knit backwards is tink. Tink, tink, tink. So,
Okay. So
that's what I get for sleep knitting.
the first story is a story with all three of us.
It is?
We went to Robert's graduation in a gale force storm. And I know that you guys who go through hurricanes and stuff like that, it's different. I've been over there on that side, not through a hurricane.
Yeah, I used to live in
Through
Tornado Alley.
Through a threatened hurricane, you know. I know that it's different, but for us, it was
bad.
the wind was unbelievable. And then it was sheets of rain, and I'm walking into the facility, and I'm feeling water go all the way inside my shoe.
My feet were soaked.
Well, and
Beth had the tie on her dress come undone, so when she was walking out, she was dragging it in the water.
yeah,
Just
and like, you know, you had talked about how one place was kind of slippery.
Yeah, I called
And-
them.
yeah.
I called them and I said, when you walk in, you're going to get under this. There was like it was a big church, and there was like this awning, like an outdoor seating area, which in Arizona is like, that's really great, right? But it was concrete. It was polished, new concrete. And I walked in there and I felt my feet slipping, and I thought these two are gonna
Yeah,
go
I could.
flat.
Yeah, I felt that also.
So I had hold of Mary Lou. Fortunately, I was like, "Come here, old lady.
Yeah,
You're gonna fall."
because
the last thing we need is another relative.
yeah, when I was
falling.
walking in and out, there was a spot there where like I felt my foot. Yeah, like, you know, I had to really be careful
so
about
I was,
walking.
and I was worried, and I didn't know what shoe. I didn't think you'd be wearing your regular shoes that maybe have more traction. I thought you
Yeah.
might be wearing dress shoes, and
Yeah, I
thought, oh,
was.
man.
Yeah, and
So-
they were sopping wet by
Yeah,
the time I took them
know.
off.
I know, it was awful, and
Well,
I tried putting the hood up on my jacket when we were coming out. The wind was worse when we were coming out than when we were going in, and it was bad both ways. But I put the hood up and everything, and then I'm running out to the car, and the wind just takes my hood off.
yeah.
And
I couldn't keep it on Mary. I lent her actual raincoat. She didn't have a raincoat with her, and I lent her my actual.
Because it doesn't rain here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well-
and so she had a heavy coat that would have been good.
But not rain.
But it
resistant.
was actually, she washed it and it wasn't dry yet.
Oh, I see.
So I was lending her a warm coat, and then I'm like, you know what? I have an extra raincoat, an actual raincoat. I said maybe that would be better, and so she tried it on and it worked. And actually, it's one that I don't wear anymore because I have one I bought at REI, and this one's really nice still. It's in good condition. Sorry, I'm untwisting my arm. And so I lent it to her, and I'm like, she's like, oh, this is really nice. I'm like, you want it? So she was very happy to, you know how she is. She stole my coat. So, no, I gave it to her. But it's when we got there, I pulled the hood down, and she's like, I can't see. I'm like, you don't need to see. You only need to see your feet. I have you, you know? Like, keep your hood on.
Well,
and,
you know,
and I had the umbrella over her, and I had a raincoat on and everything. I'm glad I had the umbrella, though, but it was just...
Yeah, I had my umbrella, and when we were walking in, I was trying to hold it over Rachel because she didn't have anything, and
She didn't have a coat.
Yeah.
Oh, she must have been freezing.
and so she was walking beside me, but it was really hard because the wind was blowing, so the umbrella was like
Yeah.
And because I was trying to cover us both, you know, it was just a mess. So eventually she said, "Forget it," and she just walked. and then when we were walking out. Mark was trying to help me because it was very slippery, and especially like where that little ramp was between the sidewalk and the parking lot, it was very steep.
That's very steep. Yeah, I told Mary Lou, watch out.
And so he was helping me down from walking on that. But the wind was blowing, like I could see the rain like coming at an angle, and and the umbrella again, the wind was like catching it and kind of trying to blow it over. And because I had it in my right hand, because I was holding on to Mark with my left hand, so I had it in my right hand, and my right hand isn't as strong, and so the wind was like knocking it up like this, and I was like, it was all I could do to keep it, over my.
It's like one of those moments where you're like, I just have to resign to getting wet. Well, it was so bad. The rain was so bad that we were on the freeway, and then the GPS had us get off the freeway. Kind of early, I thought, but I was like, well, that's fine. So I don't want to be up there anymore because the tire spray was so thick and the rain was so thick, I could barely see. And so I went, and we were traveling on regular streets, but they're still like 45, right? And so I was traveling on, and I wasn't speeding, but I noticed that my brakes were not as responsive, right? And the light changed, and I thought I should stop. I should not go through it, but I probably should have. But as I was stopping, I'm like, oh, this is taking longer than I expect. And I didn't want to slam because I had people in the car. I didn't want to slam on the brakes because I didn't want to slide further, right? I didn't want to just lock it up and then really slide in. So I was kind of just easing it down, but the car was not stopping. And I'm like, and I wound up nose in the intersection, like probably my back tires were on the crosswalk, and this was like a big rural road, so it wasn't like the intersections were really
out
wide.
In the sticks.
Yeah, the intersections were really wide. So anyway, but the guy behind me recognized my plight, and he left me room, so I just backed up like this, and as I'm backing up, I hear honking, and I was like, really? But we look, and Robert's girlfriend was in the car. It's unbelievable coincidence to see somebody you know like that. But she's honking, and she put her window down, and we said hi to her, and I'm like, did you like that move? So I'm like, I just realized she saw me. Like, not stop.
Yeah. Well, any time you have something like that you're going to, people trickle in. But when it lets out, everybody's leaving all at the same time.
Yeah.
So here it is, wind, rain, and it's an awning, but it's still coming in.
Yeah.
And you can't move to try to find a place where you're not freezing, because people were stopping in doorways and taking pictures, and it's like, get out of the way. Oops. Get out of the way.
Yeah.
Anyway. But
it was a beautiful ceremony.
Yeah, it was a good ceremony, and it was packed So it was good that they had a.
Well, when we got
venue
home,
that big.
I mean, when we got out to the car, I folded up my umbrella and I was trying to get in, but I had like all of this skirt for my dress, and
I'm
then
glad I just wore what I wore to work.
well, then I was trying to
Just wore work clothes.
get in the car and fold up my umbrella, without getting soaked, and I was like, okay, that's not going to work. So I just, I folded it up, and the problem is, it's one of those umbrellas with, of course, a little button that you push and it goes boink and zips out, But to fold it up, you have to grab the thing and pull it down until it clicks, right?
Mine has the one I have has a button that shrinks.
It shrinks it. Well,
I mean, it's still long. Yeah. It doesn't untelescope it, but it just pulls the.
Yeah. Well, this one, you just have to grab the thing and pull it down. And as you get down to the bottom, of course, the spring, you have to, it's really hard to pull it down there. And you have to get it all the way down until, it hits the notch or whatever, and it catches. But so I'm getting soaked in the meantime. And then of course, I have it there at my feet. And so I soaked my feet with this wet umbrella. It was, and I tried to kind of shake some of the water out.
Though? I mean, your feet were already
it
so.
was, and so
The fun thing is that in other climates, I've been in really bad rain. I mean, really bad rain. But I was so uncomfortable yesterday, and I think it's because here you don't have the outerwear that you would have when it rains a lot or you get that kind of weather. You don't have the shoes, especially since we were going to a function,
Yeah.
And so it's different, that like you said, you were wearing at work stuff that you would wear in a different climate.
Well, so I when I went to work that day, I did take my raincoat, I think, but it didn't rain at work. I left a little early, but I was wearing like a thin shirt. Like on Friday, I turtlenecked up, right? But on Thursday, it wasn't, at least in the morning, it wasn't horribly cold. And I wore sorry, I'm going to sneeze. I was wearing a thin shirt. It was kind of a excuse me, a 3/4 sleeve. And, because it was like one of those things like, what's clean today, right? Anyway, and I feel silly wearing turtlenecks sometimes because then I get hot in the afternoon. But anyway, I think I wore my heavy coat to work in the morning. But when I got home and I saw that it was starting to rain, I put on my raincoat. But my raincoat is really good at keeping rain out, but it is not warm. Mm-hmm. So, because it's just a thin layer,
Yeah.
So it was good in that regard, but I froze because the temperature was so low. It was really, really cold. And when we walked out to the car, and it was starting to rain when we walked out to leave for the graduation, but wasn't heavy at my house, but it was raining. Mm-hmm. And the rain looked weird, almost like sleet-ish. Mm-hmm. And because I was looking at it on my raincoat sleeve, and I'm like, what is going on? Is this the apocalypse? Have I moved? Was I suddenly transported to a different climate?
Yeah.
But, this morning I woke up, I was standing at my dining room table looking out the window, and I was like, did it rain again? Because after the graduation, we drove west, and it got sunnier and sunnier and sunnier, and it was dry at home. I mean, it was still damp, but it was, like it was all in the east where we had been. And so, we came home and did whatever. And then yesterday, it didn't rain yesterday, Friday.
No, during the day it didn't.
No, it didn't.
So,
it just
but
did
it was
at night.
cold, right? It was cold all day. I wore a turtleneck and a sweater, and I was perfectly happy all day. And then
so it was upper 50s yesterday and upper 50s Friday.
That was
Thursday.
yesterday.
Thursday and Friday.
No, but Thursday when we were going, No, Friday morning Friday morning at 4:00 in the morning, it was in the 30s when I took Mary Lou to the airport. It was cold.
Yeah.
And I took her in, and then I came back, and it was still like in the low 40s when Eli and I went to work. And, but it didn't rain. So anyway, this morning I woke up and I looked outside and everything looked damp. And I'm like, did it rain again? Like, where am I living?
The dog
What
was
is
wet
going
when she came in
on?
from going to the bathroom.
Like I said,
So the high yesterday
was
was the high yesterday was 59.
That's so close.
And when we were
I didn't feel no 59.
when we were at the party, it was 55.
Yeah.
But Thursday at 12, it was raining and 50 degrees, and by 6 p.m. it was 46.
Yeah.
Those things are unusual.
That's cold for
Well,
us.
you know what? I could kind of understand it getting very, very cold, like at, in the middle of the night, at some time. but usually during the day, even if it's very cold at night or whatever, or very cold in the morning, usually by midday or so, it warms up. And it just hasn't warmed up at all.
Yeah.
I think the high and the low were very close to each
Yeah.
other.
Remember
of
that
these
one
days.
week we're like, well, I guess winter's over.
Yeah.
It's 80. It was like almost 80 degrees. Wasn't that last week?
81.
Yeah, something like, yeah.
So
it was crazy.
this is why, like, everyone's like, it's always hot in Arizona. It's not. But the fluctuations are so strange.
I
Like,
had a
you
friend-
freeze in the morning, you roast in the afternoon, and just
I had a friend when I was in junior high who had lived in where was she from?
I thought it was like New York.
She was not. Gretchen was from, I think, in the Midwest or something, and they had moved to Albuquerque, and she had when she was living out there, where it was, she had these little, like, those, I don't know what they're called, chukka boots or whatever, the suede boots, but they had like a fleece lining, in them. And when they were getting ready to move to Albuquerque, her mother said, "Oh, you don't need these the lining out there, in Albuquerque, it's the desert or whatever." And so she had taken the lining out of her boots. And so
In Albuquerque, that's stupid. It
yeah,
gets cold.
well, it's
They have real winter.
What do they know? They're from
Yeah.
the Midwest. So one morning we were waiting because I guess it was our first class of the day. When we were in junior high, they had just started letting girls take shop, I guess, and our shop class that we had was
Like girls take shots.
yeah, they had
You're so old.
they had, the boys took shop and the girls took home ec, and so this was the first year that they let you do both. Or whatever.
Okay, we're so old that when we went to elementary school, girls had to wear dresses
Yeah.
in public school.
You're old. Okay, anyway.
So anyway, so our class that semester or whatever, 9 weeks, met in a barracks classroom. So it wasn't part of the building. It was, these additional barracks. And so we were waiting outside for the room to open before we went in. I remember it was kind of dark, so it must have been, wintertime, early morning, whatever. But we were standing out there, and she was freezing, and she goes, "My feet are so cold. My mother took the lining out of my shoes."
Well, and the weird thing is that if shoes has a lining like that, the outside is not.
Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, she
crazy.
was very cold.
So on the way back from the event, Beth hadn't eaten anything all day, and I guess Rachel hadn't eaten very much. And I needed the bath, so we decided to stop at McDonald's on the way back. And Beth.
I had one of
the
those,
app
buy one, get one for 29-cent deals.
And usually I get chicken nuggets because I'm usually driving and I can't eat hamburgers and stuff while I'm driving. But since we were going to sit there and eat and, enjoy the not being in rain for a while, I asked her to get me a quarter pounder with cheese, but
And-
I didn't want
Yeah, it was no tomatoes, no onions. So when
no
I
no
placed,
ketchup, no
Yeah,
onion.
no
It's the
ketchup, no
ketchup
onions.
that's the big deal.
Yeah.
And so when I got it,
so I had placed the order, and and they had put the sandwiches in the bag, and we sat down and ate, and so I gave Eve her thing, and it was properly labeled, no tomatoes, no
ketchup.
I mean no ketchup, no onions on hers, and no onions on mine.
and mine, I could tell it didn't have ketchup. It didn't have onions. But the other thing it didn't have was heat. And I kept going, why am I not enjoying this burger? And I was just going to throw it away. And I just was like, I should eat it. Maybe I'm just being stupid. And then I looked at it and it was bloody red.
No.
Yeah. And by that time I wasn't hungry because I had eaten raw hamburger, but it wasn't, what I had eaten wasn't like that raw. It was just the part that I saw.
It was very rare.
Like it was.
And
Ugh, gross.
and I went up to the manager and I'm like, I don't want a refund. I don't want another sandwich. I don't want to make a big fuss. But you need to tell your grill people this is not okay. I'm like,
What did he say?
he's like, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. And he goes, I can make you have him make you another burger. I'm like, no, I don't want that. And honestly, I had eaten up quite a bit of it, more than half, I think, before I was just like, bleh. I was like, why am I not enjoying this? Because I like the quarter pounders. I like the taste of the seared meat and all that.
When it's actually seared.
So I said, I worked at McDonald's. I know that there's absolutely no reason to have raw food because there are timers on everything. And if they had used the timer, they would have known that this was cooked. So they pulled it off before the timer.
Yeah, I was thinking that because it was a special order, they rushed it and didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times I remember when I was working at McDonald's, they would pull the fries early because, we have cars backing up and they just need fries. And I'm like, don't pull them early. You got, if you eat a raw potato, that's one thing. It's crunchy, right? You eat a cooked potato, yeah, it can be crunchy, right? You eat a half-cooked potato and it is nasty. And so if you pull those French fries before they're actually cooked, gross. And they did it all the time and you're like, stop it. And I know that they're just trying to get the stuff out and get it out quickly and all that, but there's timers on
Which
the food.
McDonald's were you at?
The one by
Something way over
by
there.
Chick-fil-A.
Chandler.
On the other side of the freeway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I never go to that one.
I haven't been that one in ages. Yeah.
Last time I was there, I think, was when right before Beth went in the hospital. I think that's the
No,
last time
it
I
wasn't
went
by Chick-fil-A. It was the one by the CVS pharmacy, the overnight CVS pharmacy on Ray and McClintock, I think. Or no. Yeah. There's a CVS pharmacy there on Ray that's a 24-hour CVS pharmacy and it's right next door and there's a Japanese
That's
supermarket. Huh?
That's Warner.
Is it
That's not
Warner?
Ray.
I
We
just
don't have an overnight CVS on Ray. I know that.
know that I was
That's Warner. I know exactly where you were.
I had to go up because I had to take Rachel home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
Warner.
I
I know
haven't
where everything is. I have a map in my
I
head.
haven't been to that McDonald's in
I don't think I've ever been. Maybe once.
since I lived on Baylor Street, I think. Yeah. So
That's fun.
I was like, I was really looking forward to a hamburger.
So I took Mary Lou to the airport at 4:00 in the morning, and I got a companion pass to get her to the gate, and I got her settled, and she's like, "Do you know where the water fill station is?" And I'm like, "I'll fill it for you." So I went to go fill it, and on the way I realized because I rolled out of bed to turn off the alarm, and then I got dressed, and then I left. I was like, I haven't even gone to the bathroom yet this morning. So I was like, I need to go to the bathroom. So I stopped in the bathroom. And in the bathroom, there are 2 rows, right? You walk in and there's one row here of stalls and then one over here, like it's separated like that. And there's sinks on both sides. So I had gone into the far one because I kind of poked my head in this way and there's a lot of people. So I went to the far one and I was in there. And while I'm in there, I hear a woman on the other side coughing the wettest, grossest cough.
God, she's going to get it on an airplane?
I told
Gross.
Mark, I said, it was the grossest cough I've heard since 2020. Like, it was bad. And I was like, oh, I hope that person is not on my aunt's flight. Oh. And it just kept going and kept going. And then I thought, is the person throwing up?
Oh, yeah.
No, I think it's an actual cough. But it was like, you need to be in the hospital kind of cough. Like, it was bad. And I walked out of there like, I literally, like, I don't know where that person is. I don't want to walk through. And I'm like, I feel bad for you, but
Don't come near me.
get on my aunt's plane. And then I went to get the water. And I walked back to the gate because her gate was all at the end of the little, section. She goes, it must have been far. I'm like, no, I had to go to the bathroom. But anyway.
My aunt travels a lot.
She was telling me, I used to do all this by myself, and now I can't.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, she was, back in the day, she was young.
She went to the Holy Land, and she went
to
Mexico,
Panama, and
she went to Panama, Spain,
yeah.
all over.
Yeah.
and all by herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last week I talked about my AT&T saga. Well,
Right.
so yesterday we checked the mail, and I had a thing from AT&T, and so I said, oh, it's my my final bill, because after I had texted with them and talked to this lady and blah 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 blah. So I understood that I was gonna have to pay a certain amount because of when I had switched over and blah blah blah. So I was happy with the conversation, that it wasn't going to be as much as the bill, the paper bill I had said, but I was still going to owe some. So I thought, okay, well, I'll, whenever that comes, And so I had a mailing from AT&T. So I opened it up finally and looked at it, and it's a prepaid card for some refund amount. They're saying, because you overpaid your bill, so this is a refund, it's like $23 on this little card, and I'm like,
what kind of is it, like a Visa?
Yeah, it's like one of those
see.
prepaid Visa cards, and when
Bank
I was
error in your favor, collect $25.
when I was talking with the first girl and I was texting with her, she had said something in passing at one point about.
That you'd overpaid.
That I was going to get a refund and they were going to send it to me, blah, blah, blah. But then she had mentioned it once. And then when we were going back and forth, because I was like, talking about the different account numbers and trying to look at my old account number, and I can't access it, blah, blah, blah. And
right.
so I ended up finally able to talk to a supervisor.
Right.
And that girl told me, I think, she said, yeah, you're not going to owe, it's not going to be the amount that the bill says, but that I would owe something. Yeah. And so now I'm very confused, and I'm afraid to use it.
No, just use it, because it's already issued, and then they'll send you another bill and you'll pay that. And
so yeah, but I'm like, oh wait, I don't understand.
Because even if they ask you to pay it back,
you can't
you've
pay
already
that back.
used it.
Right.
Yeah.
They've already issued it. It's already done.
Yeah. Well, what I was
Just go have a party with $26.
Yeah. So
what I was thinking is I could like
I would be heading right to the yarn shop. That's like free money. That's free money. But
I do have to go to the attic.
yeah. Heck yeah. On AT&T. Don't question it. I never question those things. I'm just like, okay.
Well, when I first got Robert, I got a support check. Well, I got support checks from them until he was 18, but as a foster mother, that kind of check. And then I got another one for the same month.
Ruh-roh. That's your
And
story.
I put it aside. I didn't cash it, and I was like, "What the heck is going on?" And the next month, the same thing happened. And I think I contacted somebody over there and said, I keep getting these checks. What do you want me to do with them?"
Uh-huh.
But I couldn't get anybody to understand what I was talking about. And then I got another one, double. And I think I got a total of 5. And then I got a letter that said,
You
you owe
this money.
such and such amount. And I might have sent it back every month, maybe not. But I was like, I never cashed those checks. B, you have them in your possession because I think I sent them back. And no, I don't owe any money.
That's your error. Oh no, so I have another story. So, you remember, if you've been with us a while, that I knit Hannah's teacher a very large, beautiful shawl called the Yara shawl by Natasha Hornby. And here's a picture of it on the table. I don't have a picture of her wearing it, which I wish I did. I gave it to her when I went there in November, and I didn't hear anything. You know, she loved it when I gave it to her, but she didn't try it on or anything. And then I didn't hear anything, but a couple weeks ago, Hannah had a lesson, and her teacher told her that she was wearing it one day and got all these compliments of, "Where did you get that? Where did you get that?" And so that was really nice to hear that she loved it and everybody who saw it loved it. That makes me happy. So I was sitting there knitting one night, and there's Hobbs, because I'm knitting this, and it's full of Hobbs' hair. Like, I can see his hair everywhere, because he's just on me when I'm knitting. So I patted him on the back, and I said, "A preeminent violinist in the world is wearing your hair about town. You should be very happy." And he goes, just smiled at me.
That's what I always say.
His little hair is out in the world. It's embedded. She'll never find it. It's in there. Specialty fibers.
Specialty fibers, yeah.
But,
Well, there's somebody made a pattern that says there's probably cat hair.
yeah,
in this.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I need. Well, we're going to have to go. I am
Yes.
this afternoon volunteering to go clean a little church. Our church is replanting a church nearby, and the ladies are getting together to go clean it. So I decided to do that this afternoon, and I have to go make a second sock at some point. For Robert.
Because Robert has 2 feet.
I know, I'm like, ooh, because I went into Hannah's room this morning on my way here, and because all day yesterday, all I did was come home from work, make that stew, green chili chicken stew was really good.
By the way, it was very good. The whole dinner was very good.
And then I
yes.
made homemade tortillas, and I'm like, it took me forever. Anyway.
Oh, wait, let me interrupt you. The most important thing, when we went to Frost to get drinks and chips for the party, they were selling Girl Scout cookies out front.
Oh, congrats.
We had,
Congratulations. I can't eat any. That's
Yeah.
great. Anyway, so I didn't even go into Hannah's room yesterday at all. And this morning I went in to see, like, do I need to bring anything else for today? You know, I'm glad I grabbed my Musselburgh hat in its same state that it always been, because it had a stitch marker in here that I needed to fix my problem. But I went in and I was like, ooh, I get to pull my stuff out and open my box back up, and I now, because I was like waiting till after Mary Lou went home, now I can actually think about starting my channel. I've been thinking.
Oh yeah.
I've been you'd like take a temperature of your days, right? I'm like, I don't know what day would work for me to do it, where I could, have a consistent time. So I've been trying to think about that, but I'm like, I can't think about anything while my craft room is buttoned up,
Right.
So now that is over, I may actually start
Yay!
So, but thank you for joining us for another week in this rainy Arizona day week. I know. Okay, so if you're all in California, we shouldn't even be joking about rain because it's been really horrible for everyone out there. So
I was wondering if the rain that we're getting is
absolutely it's a
part
result of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I've been watching that. It's really I feel really bad, and if you're suffering from that, I really hope that everything is going okay for you. But we're just like literally. Well, I was going to say fish out of water, but that's opposite. We're
fish in water.
We're okay. You know what we are? This is what we are. One day I have this coloring app, and it's just a stupid app on your phone where you just it's like color by number. It's like but it's like meditative and kind of anyway. I spend a lot of time on it. But one of the patterns was it was supposed to be a sea turtle because it was it was water all around. But the tortoise that they put in it in their little foreign company way was a desert tortoise. I'm like, they drowned the turtle. It was like literally one of those desert tortoises. It didn't have fins; it had feet. You know, and I'm like, that's not a sea turtle. That's what we were this week. So thanks for joining us again, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.